Phoenixes are rising. Hey, this has been on my heart for quite some time, and I thought since I'm on my patrol, I would share this. So this has to do with undoing the toxic beliefs about ourselves and the perception that we have of ourselves. And I've been told to take a step back to kind of relax, to heal. Personally, just to give you guys an update, I have not been feeling well and not like sick physically, but a bit disappointed in the lack of what I have perceived to be the progress in reaching out and motivating people and doing the coaching and providing you guys with the workshops and building my client base and everything else. It's been really frustrating. And in meditation, what God told me was to chill out. Have fun. I'm like, are you forgetting where I'm at, where I live, and the type of surveillance I'm under, abuse or whatever, I don't know what to term it. There's a word for it, that I've been going through. See, I'm still in the fight. Warfare doesn't stop, Phoenixes. This is why I believe. So here, that brings me to this. So in meditation, God telling me just to, chill out. And because I'm like, it's hard for me to feel motivated right now. And to be authentic, right? I can't ask you guys to trust me to help you transform into your authentic self. And I'm not living from my authentic self. That's a hypocrite. Okay, so I am constantly working on myself. And there are several things that God showed me this week. It was been a real tough, and I've noticed that when Mercury retrograde whips back, starts going forward, sometimes it can be a harsh whip, and had some things that happened that literally just made me cry, because a lot of people don't get on this journey. And it's really, I say journey because when you are your authentic self, and I'm not going to put a label like chosen or anything else like that, but when you are living from your authenticity, your divine purpose, we are given maps on how to navigate when we get here. We're given it. I terrify people because they say, oh, you always have a way of knowing. Anytime you look at us, we feel like we're being condemned. Just me looking at them makes them feel like they're being condemned. And that's the furthest from my heart that I'm thinking. But I see the unseen, not just in the spiritual realm, but in the psychological realm too. So it was even your thoughts are an energy, right? So somebody may be saying, hey, I like to do this and I'm doing this and oh, I feel so good. And what I'm picking up is, I just left an abusive relationship and I'm reeling from the trauma. And I'm scared because that person had control over everything, right? So the facade, the masks that we wear, right? I mean, just not even everybody wears masks. It's just sometimes some of us who are not character disturbed permanently, like that's a cycle we're always going to go through. We end up either changing them out, using them when it's convenient, when we feel it's necessary, or busting it and letting it go, right? So anyway, God chastised me a little bit Because I said, Lord, I've been in this fight against other people. Like I'm literally fighting for my life. Fighting for my life because I have had, with people doing death spells on me. You imagine you're living your life. Imagine this. You're walking down the street. Nothing's happening. It's a beautiful sunny day. Birds are chirping. Butterflies and ladybugs everywhere, right? And somebody driving in their car, passes you, looks at you, and I've actually had this happen. Passes you, but they're looking at you. You ever had somebody stare at you and still keep driving, but they're staring at you and you're wondering, why aren't you hitting anything yet? Like, how can you not keep your eye on the road just to check and make sure you're not running anybody over? The next thing you know, they're screeching to whip around just to intimidate you because your spirit, who you are, not in the physical, but who you are in the spiritual, ticks them off, ticks that demon off to the point where they act out. Like the demon in them is not concealing itself. It's acting out because it's mad. How dare you? Right? Spiritual immaturity, emotional immaturity is not being able to keep your composure. And what does the enemy have us in? A constant state of fear. If I'm in a constant state of fear, I have no faith. If I have no faith, I'm not checking in with God. I'm trying to do it myself. Which brings me to the next point that God brought up to me. To Neil. I'm going to say. And I watched it play out, and it's not the first time that I've been chastised about this. And what was said was, you're creating issues that do not exist because you're afraid. You're trying to get ahead of being traumatized. Now, it's not that that's wrong, but I've come, because when you're, and here's what he also said, hey, give yourself a break. I'm pointing this out to you because it's distracting you from me when you need to be in peace. When you need to be in peace instead of, thinking that something is feeling something and getting triggered, right? Getting triggered, you're having an episode and you're ready to fight. Because that's what dealing with gang stalking and cluster B personalities does. It screws you up neurologically. The trauma that your brain has experienced, it's like when those same people come by, I get, jail booty. And I'm around them all the time because this is their world. This is their city. And I am a virus to them. So they're used to it. Here's how you test whether you've spiritually evolved and leveled up. Here's two things that I've noticed within the last month. And before that, but just really, I guess, just to bring it up to the Phoenix Rising Academy, is that you can literally see the toxic energy, the demonic energy, like a heat wave on asphalt in 110-degree weather. You can see it. I've seen it in people passing, whether driving on a bike or walking. I've seen them change. I felt the change. I felt the wave. I've seen the wave materialize suddenly. The other thing is, A guy passed me, and he wasn't the first, but he was the first one that I noticed. And he's a part of the gang stalking and the North Daniels. Black male, though. 80 years old. And I mean, and I'm not exaggerating. A lot of these guys here, I think they're only, I've seen, it's like your health, you're drinking, you're drugging, your soul is dead. Because they get new recruits and they bring them to my hotel, the hotel where I stay. And then you have hordes of them. You want to talk about complex post-traumatic stress triggers. And this is how I've forced myself. Because it's too much. I have had to force myself to calm down. That's why it's better to be in your power. These people can't do anything to you. When you understand the spiritual authority that you have and what you're allowed to do and what they're allowed to do. And what if you do gives them a reason, like me creating a problem when there was no problem, will give them a reason. They'll have authority to then attack me. Okay, because I was triggered or whatever. So it's recognizing, it's getting ahead of that trigger before you start snowballing and everything goes downhill. So and that's why I said, when you guys start knowing yourself and start knowing your power, you live from that. But it's not like we don't have relapses, right? I relapsed and, I went off. But the thing that I noticed with these guys, again, I'm living out of a hotel after being 3 years, from what I calculated, it was over 3 years. It's about 4 years on the streets. But I don't know. I'm like, how could I miss a year? So from 2017 to the end of 2021. And then we got into the hotel, and I've been in here going on almost a year, or 2 years, excuse me. So I have watched, and so as I've mentioned in other broadcasts, that these guys set up anywhere they want to. And so, but one thing that I realized, the second thing that let me know that I had leveled up spiritually, was I was literally able to see this guy who's a recruiter. And, again, 80 years old, black male. And it shocks me. It's like, you can't. Anyway, 80 years old, ushering young women in for God knows what. And then I remember seeing, because it was like everybody was moving in. These are the new recruits who were moving in, or these are the people who got kicked out of their place. So the organization is taking care of their people, right? But they designate places by areas that they want to take over. They've been doing this. And I thought it was just amazing because I'm seeing them, and this is what I've been doing. I've been seeing them and the system. So you had people coming in, Hispanic, Black, Asian American, coming in, Mexican, coming in, checking, and they come through, they do a loop, they look at specific hotel rooms, to try and check like it's their property, but somebody else owns it. Do you understand? But this guy has been doing this for over a year, for as long as I've seen him in the area. And he kept coming around me. And sometimes what they'll do is to instigate you, so which triggers me too. And I've realized that. So God was like, walk away. Do not respond. Rest. Because when you open your mouth, that gives them a foothold, which is what they want. Okay? So they're never going to give up on trying to defeat you. And I know many of us are exhausted. We're exhausted with the battle. We're exhausted with not getting the results based on how hard we've worked. I know that I have felt that, which is what I was talking to God about and just a couple days ago. And I was pretty hot about it. Not at God, but just at this system. It's like, when does this ever end? You know? But when you're picked and you take on the charge and you can't go back, you got to finish out. And you got to finish. I would rather finish strong than finish weak, than finish and not have done anything, right? But see, the illusion is we're in this world, but we're not of it. And this is, so anyway, let me get back to it. I'll get to that other part. But, so it's frustrating. But one thing that I noticed with these guys is that with the black male, when he passed me, he was empty. Like there was not a human in his body. There was absolutely nothing really. So it was like, you know what I mean? Like I'm an anime fan, love anime. And in anime art, the way that they draw a character who has either transitioned or is empty, is under some type of possession, is they take, you know how anime eyes are so glistening and, especially when they cry, it's like, oh my God, but they're light and they're vibrant. They take that spark out. No pupil, no nothing. It's just dull. And that is honestly what I saw in this guy. And I thought, my God. And his energy, I didn't feel anything. I just felt like he was just like a sack. I said, oh gosh, okay. So that was one of the things. The other thing that I wanted to bring up was that we're in the world, we are not of it. One thing our abusers will do, amongst many tactics that they use. See, when I want to talk further about energetic weight. For me, it feels like I've always been on this weight loss journey, trying to tone myself up, right? And this has only been for the last 20 years. And that's because at a certain time in my life, a whole bunch of towers hit. And that was the beginning of a deeper transformation for me. That was my introduction to witchcraft on a deeper level, and just witchcraft really in general. It was my introduction to demons being conjured against me. It was my introduction to losing a loved one, to death that I didn't even get to know, right? So it created and opened up wounds that would affect me for time to come. So one thing, when I was in this area, I was going to college, and it was hard to focus on getting my degree, doing my classes, and working when you're constantly under spiritual attack. I had not been under this type of spiritual attack before. So here, I had been working out already for 10 years or so. Diesel, nice toned body. Because of the energy that was being emitted from the people in this city, practicing witchcraft, pedophilia, zoophiles. Zoophiles are creatures who like to have intercourse with animals, and they think that crap is okay. Here in California, where I'm at, they like to, their favorite is pit bulls. I've rescued a couple. One I still have, who was being treated like that, who were being set up like that. And it's real big here. They say, well, And I've never heard it before I moved here. They say that, well, you got to get them fixed, because if you don't, they'll have pus and everything else in the female pit bulls, as primary in pit bulls. Why? Because they're being sexually assaulted. That's what the Spirit of God said. They're being sexually assaulted. Now, I know that this is what I'm saying. I know that it seems like outlandish, like who would ever do this? These are demonic creatures housed in human sacks of flesh that do this kind of stuff, of all races and of all genders. So my first introduction, though, was in another city while I was getting my college degree in filmmaking. At least I thought so. I was constantly under attack. And before I started this recording, I remembered, they considered me a Christian, which is actually, I was transitioning out of the dogma of, Christianity, out of the church or whatever. I was like, the Spirit of God is within me, right? So if it's within me, I need to find a God that is not a narcissist, psychopath, because that's what I was getting. Why? Because that's what was represented by my dad. Okay? And you could have that represented by your mother if you got a covert narcissistic mother. So the energy of my body totally, completely changed. Not because I was overeating, because I've always had a healthy lifestyle. I am an earth sign. I gravitate towards those things that are healthy. When it is not healthy, you will see the results of how it affects me instantly. And that was through my body, my digestive system. And this is what God had to remind me, because all of a sudden my self-esteem started to plummet, and I was getting into dangerous places. And God had to remind me, because here, after 2 years, almost 3 years of intermittent, I'm just going to say 2, but of intermittent fasting, because it took, that trial period where it took you a long time. Oh, wow. A hawk. Just to sidetrack a little bit, I saw a ladybug. So about almost a month, well, probably a month ago now. And sometimes, the ancestors and my guides will give me a little, don't give up kind of sign. And so I was seeing 2 days in a row, I saw ladybug first, 2 ladybugs, 2 monarch butterflies. The next day, I saw 2 geese and 2 finches. So I looked up, there's some spiritual symbology. And so basically it's good all around. Anyway, so my body had changed. And I've talked about this before, but I think it needs to be repeated. Because here I was, again, like I said, I eat healthy still to this day, and I'm constantly exercising. Constantly. I eat healthy about 80 to 90% of the time. I'm going to allow myself some cheesecake or some Kit Kats or whatever. I do it within moderation. Binging one day because I got some dollar store candy, chocolate, because it's about that time, does not equal gaining 30 pounds from it. That's a spiritual attack. Because see, when you're healthy, when you're in alignment and you're healthy in your spirit, mind, and body, then you get these downloads and this wisdom from the Most High. You shine. And they don't like that. So even though I wasn't talking to anybody, even still here, I've asked God, it's like, God, we're at it again. So again, I had to be reminded. This is energetic. This is not who you are. Right? We get all hard on ourselves because people don't understand that what we've been through. And also one thing that he brought up to me that I was realizing when I was going through it, when my body started to change, because when my body changed, it's never gone back. I had stretch marks as if I had kids. And I've never had any kids. Right? But explain that. I mean, like during that time, I was depressed because there was such an overwhelming emanation of evil. I was crying all the time. Like as soon as when I'd go to campus, I would feel uncomfortable. So when you're in a constant state of stress, your body is going to contort itself. It's not only your mind, it's not only your spirit, right? It's like I would pray, I would chant. But I was, and when you're dealing with gang stalking, the stress can either, make you stop eating and it's not that I was eating. So it's not about the eating. Let's get that straight. It's not about the eating. Like I said, I eat healthy in 80 to 90% of the time. And here, God gave me the vision of when I was at another site. They had 17 floors. Okay? 17 floors. And I would start at the top. And yes. I would start at the top, walk down the fire stairs or whatever you call them, the back stairs, walk down the stairs. At almost each landing, 17 floors, mind you, I was doing squats of 10 or 20. Okay? 17 floors. I was intermittent fasting. I was going to the gym and doing 45 minutes of cardio. There would be times that I would fast or eat 1,000 calories or less, And, I would see results. The time, and when you are around people who have this, who believe that they can micromanage you, they have this God complex, which most narcissists do, right? They have this God complex, this grandiose sense of self. So when they hook into you and they want to destroy the light of God in you, they try and micromanage you. Gang stalking is them having other people do their dirty work for them in order to get status and street cred and benefits, at least in my case. Okay? So it does, and I told God, I said, God, it's like I am not gaslighting myself or anything. But I know, right? I know what I should be looking like by now. And especially after having good results, and then all of a sudden with each attack that seemed to be taken away. It seemed as if I would make headway and I could see the results and then it'd be taken away. Why? Because the enemy doesn't want you to have good self-esteem. You have somebody who's stalking and harassing you and is obsessed with you, and they're 400 pounds. And they reek like a demon. They smell like sulfur and sour something. Because of the demons that they house, because of the demons that they worship, and the blood sacrifices, animal sacrifices, etc., that they've been participating in, they don't have that self-esteem. You got a succubus or incubus who you've rejected, and they are hell-bent on doing witchcraft to either make you look ugly, so your face starts breaking out, you start losing hair, do overweight spells. I've had people try and put me back into poverty or wish that, or do a ritual, because I actually can hear sometimes what they're doing if it's really intense and I'm so in tune to it, that they were trying to make it so that I would go back 2 years. Well, at that time when they did it, this was last year, when they were trying to make me go back 2 years, that would have been when I was first on the streets. Because this person, that's when they had the control. So they wanted to have that control back. They wanted to be able to bully and make fun of me for being homeless. This one person, especially since I didn't come they had assumed that after they had abused me, tried to sexually abuse me or groom me to be sexually abused, that when I was living with them, that I would come running back to them, is what she said in her mind's eye. I heard her telepathically. That I would come back to her in 6 months. I would come begging her back, and that didn't happen. So she was mad. Then I started energetically blocking her, so she was even madder. And here I am, I'm on the streets fighting for my life and sanity. Just goes to show you the priority. These guys, their first priority is to destroy you. They don't have any empathy. Right? So this was my learning. So, even now it's like, okay, I've quit smoking for 6 months. I knew that there was going to be a bit of weight gain, but here's what it is. Wherever you carry your trauma because of your zodiac sign or whatever is what's going to be affected. Mine is my digestive system. I have had them directly attack my digestive system, and really they've attacked all my chakras. They've blocked crown, they've blocked third eye, they've tried to rip out my throat chakra, basically, and my root chakra, my sacral chakra, and there's the Manipura chakra, which I found because this specific person has tried to make themselves a parasitic symbiotic parasite on me in the spirit realm. And I can feel it. One side is always heavier, and I can feel this person enter. So I have to do, I have to get the eggshells and whatnot and chant and whatever. But that helps with the Manipura, whatever they're attaching to my spine, right? They're trying to I've literally felt her kind of slowly graft herself in, is the only way that I can describe it. Like when you see Venom, the movie Venom, that's basically like when he just kind of envelops this guy. That's what she's done. So they've attacked everything, right? Because this person, these people, these entities do not want whatever your purpose is. They don't want you to get justice. And they want you to turn in on yourself and implode. Implode, not explode. Because if you explode, it might hit them. They might have to take responsibility for their actions, which is something that they don't want to do. And because they're always in competition, they're never going to let it go. They may get a few dicks and whatever, but you know what I'm saying? So on top of everything else, so you're going through all of this and you're trying to live your life and be in your purpose and hear from the Most High and get direction and get wisdom and stay focused and just live. And here you're being attacked, and your body, whether you know it or not, this is why you do your shadow work, so that you become aware of when something is off within you. Not based on what a doctor says or what anything says. God can use anything, but when you go to the source for your answers, then all will be revealed. So while you're living your life, somebody is attacking you, and you're thinking, gosh, I did real good this week. I should have lost at least, 1 to 2 pounds. Well, the reason why you didn't is because that person, there's somebody that has used something, done some type of spell or ritual to keep you from making that progress, because they don't want to see your dreams come true. But I'll tell you something else. Even because I've dealt with this, it's like all of us, they'll try and get to you subliminally by injecting this negativity. Oh, you're fat, you're ugly, nobody wants you, all this other kind of stuff. Well, and you hear it and you wake up with it, and you start getting into that, because they love it when you feel depressed, right? Because if you're depressed, why? You're not elevated. You're down. You're down. God's not able to reach you because you're mad. I've even had them attack my faith. And I'm grateful that I recognize it. And it's only going to be you, Phoenix's Rising Academy, that knows the difference. If you've done your shadow work, you'll know that, okay, yeah, I've done and you're being honest with yourself. It's like I said, if you eat, those pack of bite-sized whatever. That's not enough. You don't do this consistently. That's not what your diet is of. Usually it's, especially for women, it's like if you're on your cycle or something, I know I get cravings, right? So I do try and I drink a heck of a lot more water, especially because I work out, and I've just learned, right now it's kind of getting hard to work out at the, during that period. So, but whatever, but it's only you that's going to know. So you can't have anybody confirm but God that this the weight is not leaving you because somebody is putting more weight on you. And somebody, I was listening to a sister on YouTube, and she was saying, hey, I know that a lot of you guys are feeling like all your work is for nothing. And I was like, oh, what is this? And but anyway, she described it as digging a ditch only for it to, or digging and digging, excavating and removing debris only to have it put back again. That is what the devil does. That is what the principles and principalities do through these cluster B personalities, through the narcissist, the histrionic, the borderline personality, the psychopath, the sociopath, the antisocial. That is who they do it through, because these people don't have any empathy. So there's no cutoff. If there's no cutoff, they can keep going. I have a person who does not seem to sleep. Every day that I wake up, if I haven't ripped her apart to where she needs to go and heal and lick her wounds, or if the Most High and the angels haven't ripped her apart. Now, mind you, this is a person that literally tried to kill me with witchcraft. Another one, a succubus, in her obsession, because I was the one that got away. You see, these are predatory. These are creatures who are predators. Their only goal is to steal, kill, and destroy, and to get you to take the blame for it. Get you to take the blame for your own demise. And I was saying on TikTok, do not give yourself a break. See yourself see your experiences as they really are. You don't need anybody in the world to confirm or to join in with you and agree with you about what you've experienced, what you're constantly going through. Only you know. As long as God knows. I went to God and I said, I didn't ask anybody else, because everybody else is going to tell you the opposite of what's really happening, because they don't want you to elevate. Doesn't necessarily mean that they have a character disturbed, cluster B personality, but it just means that they're toxic and lower vibing and want company. So when I went to the Most High and I asked, I did something, I was so sad. I was so mad, because I'm like, okay, normally, see, this is when you know your growth, when you look at when you take inventory of your actions, of your personality, of your growth, gratitude list, 10 things that you're grateful for, 10 things that you've accomplished. So that's way you can get a perspective, not always getting on yourself, especially empaths and black sheep are always on ourselves for, oh God, I didn't do this in time, or I didn't say this. I was kicking myself in the ass because I lost Brittany Elizabeth Adams, one of my grandpuppies, because the witchcraft death spell that attacked my digestive system and was supposed to kill me, but it ended up taking out this little baby who was only a year and a few months. After that, my real mother died, who I wasn't really in a good place with. We hadn't bonded, because she had possessions. You understand? So I had to ask God, did I do this right? Did I miss a step? And I heard in my mind, see, the things people say, well, how can you hear from God? Because I tune into that frequency. And that's what when they're constantly attacking you and throwing witchcraft at you and trying to literally dull and shut down your chakras. If you ever feel a pressure on your head or a weight on your body, it's not fatigue. It is somebody on you trying to come in with an attack, but they want to have the upper hand, so they're clouding your vision by clouding and blocking your chakras. So when God said, no, it's not you, it's them. And then I was told to rest. And that was supposed to be an enjoyable time, right? Heart of a child. Blessings were still going to come. God was like, I'm going to work this out. You take a rest because you've been working real hard. They even blocked that. If I wasn't determined, you got to be determined to keep moving forward, to be positive. And sometimes even if you can't feel it naturally in the atmosphere because they're blocking it, which is, I was amazed when I saw it with my spiritual eyes. Like literally here were all these particles of love and blessings. Like I could read the particles. I could read what was coming. And it was like just consumed. And it made me buckle inside. Like, oh my God, I was choked up. See, some people some of these, narcissistic spiritualists, they try and give off the impression that this is, you're not doing anything right if you're not in bliss and if you're not living free and there's nobody attacking you. No, if nobody's attacking you, you're not doing anything. That means that you are part of the problem. You have henchmen that are going and taking care of people that can cause you any type of discord. Not all of us have that luxury because we have a different kind of mission. The other thing is gratefully, when you do the work, Phoenix is Rising Academy, when you do the work, you go into your shadow work, you have God guide you through, or to transformational coach, narc coach like myself, guide you through, and you start doing the work and you start making the connections, right? And you start letting go and releasing all that baggage, all that energetic weight, right? It has to go back to the people, their bloodline at least, who put it on you. So one of the tactics of the enemies working through cluster B personalities is to what? Never admit that they're wrong. All of a sudden get amnesia. And gaslight you, trying to know, do you really remember it right? I'm going to finish with this. I went to because I prayed about something, God gave me the answer, so I went there. So the devil, working through my gang stalkers, was honest for it since from the first time I went, and then I told him, I said, okay, I'll come back next pay period, for at least a week and a half. This person, I could feel this same person doing witchcraft. Now, again, this person is trying to micromanage my life. It hurt me because I said, God, I want to work on this documentary. This person has been blocking me from doing this documentary because they know that once this documentary gets out for me, that it will bring to light a lot of things, and it will skyrocket me, right? So I needed to get my Macs upgraded so it worked faster. This person was doing witchcraft for all that week to make sure that there was discord, caused chaos magic, discord magic, animosity, this bitterness. This guy I had seen before, he had worked on another laptop for me. I have two different laptops, two different brands. One's a Windows, one's the Mac. And so I go there, and all of a sudden, when I go back, there's all this sexism and homophobia. And for me, this was abnormal. This guy was mad. He was bitter. And I didn't understand why. This was the first time I came in just to get an estimate and ask him what was going on. I knew that this was godly ordained, just like when I was on the street. See, this is how the enemy working through these narcissistic sociopaths works, is they will sabotage you from getting on your feet. This person sabotaged me from getting into a tiny home many a times, or getting into any type of home. Any time, many a times. So, and I recognized, I said, this guy is not acting like he normally would. I'm like, this guy is gentle. He's intelligent. It's a black business I wanted to support. And I had forgotten that they were there because I don't use them very often. I used to go to them a lot last year, right? So here's my dilemma was, and I should have just let them fix it. But here's my thing. When you have people who body swap, do that fallen, where they literally possess other people or direct such negativity. See, these are people who don't stay in their body. And if you go to some other, if you're on my Patreon, if you're a member of my Patreon, the $15 a month tier gives you access to some of those more higher level, esoteric, metaphysical discussions that we've had on my TikTok lives about people having fragmented souls and being able to send a piece of their fragments to you to cause chaos and havoc. So was doing witchcraft. So when people can fragment, they astral project and they remote view. If I tried to upload, but it was a copyright infringement, of course. But it's such a good, please watch Behind Her Eyes. Please go to Netflix now and watch that. It's called Behind Her Eyes. It describes in there exactly what I am telling you guys. They got it from somewhere, because people who delve into Santa Muerte worship, Santeria, all that stuff, and I'm not going to, from where I've experienced it, these people have used it to gain control and dominion and to colonize insidiously a culture, a race, a country, or people, individuals. You know, boyfriend or girlfriend breaks up with you, you want to wish her death. If I can't have you, nobody can. That's what the succubus was doing, to where she tried to do a death spell on me, or cause me confusion, or she wanted me to be bedridden, and I noticed that with these cluster B personalities, everything that causes them insecurity is what they try and manifest within you. So here, this woman, I had this chance because God was, and this is what I'm saying. It's not that you're not on point, that you're not in alignment. I prayed, God gave me the answer. I went, I did, they sabotaged it. She infected this man's mind. The next day, Phoenix says, I was floored. And it broke my heart, because the next day he was so virulent. He was so aggressive. Both of them was. It was absolutely disgusting. They sabotaged themselves. You just missed out on $300. And I missed out on a chance to start finally working on my documentary without any interruptions. So another thing that cluster B personalities will do, the narcissist will do, is try and screw with your finances. Whether they're trying to control it, and in this case, which is just bizarre to me, like, I don't talk to these people, and sometimes you won't be talking to them. So it begs the question, like, here I'm thinking that I've never believed in coincidences, but now it's on a deeper level that I don't believe in coincidences, because I know that there are people literally with these cluster B personalities that you've done nothing with, because you can just pass one of them, and all of a sudden, if they got a cluster B personality, if they're a covert narcissist or an overt narcissist or a psychopath or a sociopath, they have that whole fucking cocktail. If this is what they are, their character disturbed, it doesn't matter. They say something in their head. They're delusional. They believe that everybody loves them or everybody is competition to them. So you have to start taking a deeper look, a closer look at what is happening. And my spiritual mom always told me, see your life from spiritual eyes, not from the world. You are in the world, but you are not of it. It broke my heart because I could tell this man, I could feel his heart. I could feel his fear because I was upset. I went in there with my camera phone ready and recording the whole thing. Like because I had to decide, do I want to use their services because I can't tell the universe, even though the universe is not stupid. And I thought about this later, but I said, I can't, and I should have just went ahead and got it done. And God said, this is one of those things where they sabotage you, knowing your character, knowing your mission, knowing what you state. It's like, I'm not going to tell the universe that I want somebody to treat me like this. And I'm not going to pay to be treated like this, right? That's that kid that's stuck in between a rock and a hard place. I know that you are being attacked because they're attacking me also. I remember when I first met the succubus, before I actually got that she was a succubus, we were having good conversations. That's the idealization or whatever, honeymoon period. And this same person sent a demon to them. I don't know if it was their fragmented self or not, but it was a evil mass of crap. And I saw it in the spiritual realm, and I immediately took it out. And I asked, who I now know was a succubus, I asked her, did you feel something? She goes, yeah, I felt it. So it was the same thing. It was the same thing. And that she perceived that I was happy, and I was. I was like, okay, this is a pretty cool person, but I always had my guard up. If there's one red flag, I'm waiting for others. Sometimes there's not just one red flag, right? When you learn to triage yourself, when you learn to sit back, and I forget, there was a pastor I was listening to. What did he say? Let's see, talk you into destroying yourself. See, and that's what he said too. He was talking about the spirit of sabotage, but he was talking about how you sabotage yourself. But see, and he got into how demonic entities or the evil will try and get you to sabotage yourself. And so, talk you into destroying yourself. Telepathic witchcraft influencer. That's what I wrote down. That's not what he said, but he used a term. Dr. Darius something, I forget. Oh, self-regulation. Think about what you're thinking about. I have been doing workshops that are on my Patreon, Phoenix is Rising, about having to do with thinking about what you're talking about, what you're thinking about. And people think, oh yeah, that's so cute and da-da-da. No, this is life or death. Because when you start to become aware that you're being influenced by a third party, meaning God's not telling you to do it, and you're not telling yourself to do it, then who's telling you to do it? And it's so insidious. I had the succubus who is hell-bent on trying to come back in my life because, like again, I said, everything's always a competition. And when you're the one that got away, they're not going to stop. There has to be payback. There has to be revenge. They have to be satisfied in some way, shape, or form, right? So this person was in, and if I had, again, self-regulation, I'm thinking about what I'm thinking about. Why would I have these type of thoughts? Why would I think about moving back into a van that was not my own? Of course, I would like to save up quicker, but really it's just about money budgeting. I don't need a lot of stuff. You see what I'm saying? I don't. So I'm budgeting quite well, especially after a time of when they tried to get me to not have hours or to cause, discord and chaos in my job. Because when they can't get to you, Phoenixes, they will get to the people around you. They will get to your family members. They will get to your best friend. They will get to your husband, your wife. They will get to, they will get to the Uber driver or the Lyft driver. They'll get to them. They got to this older male, beautiful, sweet soul. And I felt so bad. Because he was hurting inside. He couldn't deny what he did. But he couldn't admit it either. He's a business. But I knew what it was. And I hate that in the process where there's a little bit of, of cognitive dissonance. Am I seeing this right? Am I hearing this right? I know he's got to be being possessed, but yet you're leaving yourself open to it. So you didn't do your prayer meditation. Da, 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 da. So, I mean, that's again why I do these workshops on on what you're thinking about, on getting to know you, on uncovering, excavating and digging back down to your authentic self. Right? So anyway, those are just a few things that have been on my heart. It's been really hard. I gotta say that. It has been really hard. And I am a strong advocate for crying, right? Because I've noticed when I cry, it releases that weight. It helps to release that weight. Working out helps to release that weight. Eating healthy helps to release that weight. Energetically does not mean that you're not going to be attacked, right? And if I hadn't finished, it's like when you aren't able to clear that negative energy out of you that is being projected and dumped onto you, you end up, those particles, they sit there and they fester like a virus, and they become a part of you. And they were never you. They were never you. But now you don't know it because why? A cluster B personality gets amnesia and will go into denial violently because they don't want to take responsibility for the evil that they have projected and inflicted off of unsuspecting people simply because they shine. Simply because they're happy. Simply because they're successful. That's it. And it's very hard for people to understand that that's all that it could be because they're extremely violent. I was in my God talk, I was like, Lord, these guys, why does it have to be? And I think it's because of how I am. I don't take on naturally from my inception. I've never taken on, I've never been a person to people please. I've never been a person to take on other people's baggage. It's not mine. Nor do I have to sit there and play mammy and allow you to dump all your negative energy onto me or into me. This was something I was conditioned to do as a part of survival. If you want to eat, you got to vote Democrat. If you want to get gas, you got to get an injection. You want to have sex, you got to endorse or donate to such and such. You see where we're going? You want to talk about micromanagement? This is where America is going. So when we can't deal with it, that's what it's saying. You can heal yourself. You don't need somebody to okay it. You don't need anybody's permission. You don't even need for anybody to admit that they were wrong. If God has shown you on your mind, internal spiritual mind screen, that this is your part, this is their part, this is how you solve it, this is how you get back to a higher level, then that's all you need. Because even if they're resisting taking responsibility, it's going to go back to them anyway because you've released it. And it was never yours in the first place. People don't understand that. Like there's a traffic jam in the spiritual world because all these narcissists and these cluster B personalities with these demons have sent and projected and dumped, and we're excavating and we're clearing and we're pruning, and now because they don't want to take it. But it can only sit in limbo for so long before it automatically goes back to them anyway, because you're not taking it back, but they will still try and influence you to take it back on. When my dad had to take responsibility that I was being blamed or basically being blamed because he's a sex offender and assaulted a member of the family, which produced a child that was later put up for adoption, he exploded like I exploded when the negative, his body, he was no longer that healthy, fit looking man. He felt what he sent back, what he had sent out to me for 8 years. Because he knowingly did this. He knowingly created that dynamic to where I would be the outcast when it should have been him. And I don't hold any bitterness, but I'm still against this man. I've long dealt with him. But there are still people around him like that. Like once you deal with one cluster B, they all come from the same template. They're just maybe Asian, Chinese, Indian, white, Hispanic, black, male, female, trans, gay, lesbian. You see, rich, poor, you still have a cluster B demonically possessed personality. And they succeed because this is their world. We are not of it. But we're trying to get, I was asking God, it's like, so what is our purpose here if this is actually their domain, right? If this is their domain, then what is our purpose here, right? So anyway, I just wanted to, hopefully this motivates you guys. Please, like, subscribe, and share. And let me know. Let's get into the real discussion about this in the comments because it's time. It's time. You're going to have to heal yourself or you're going to fall by the wayside and you're going to end up like these gang stalkers that I see every day and just nothing but a dead sack of rotted meat. A dead sack of rotted meat. So do not give up. Get into meditation. Do your gratitude list. Do your list of things that you've accomplished. It doesn't matter how small it is. Write it down. Write it down. Be gentle with yourself. Love yourself. Record yourself telling yourself how much you love yourself and play it when you go to sleep at night so it gets into your subconscious. That way, when they're working on you at night because you're vulnerable because of the cowards that they are, you have something stronger and greater that is love coming inside of your very mind and manifesting itself. Instead of the evil, the death that they wish on you. I love you, Phoenix, and remember, your blessings are in your ashes. Rise.